Hello guys, my name is Gavin, and this will just be a quick tutorial on how to make an interactive pause menu. I will be using some Python, and I'm just going to get started. To start off, let's right click on our camera and hit X delete, and then right click on this light and hit X delete. What we're now going to do is go from defaults to game logic and go from Blender render to Blender game. I'm just going to right click on our cube and do object snap cursor to selected. And what we're going to do now is I'm just going to hit 1 to go into front view and do spacebar, and then we're going to add a camera right here. We'll drag it back like this. And on our camera right here, what we're going to do is add a controller. Add a sensor, sorry. We'll name the sensor as pause like this. Let's click tap, and let's put the spacebar key in right here. Next, what we're going to do is add an actuator scene. This scene is going to add an overlay scene. And this will be pause menu, like that. But we haven't created that yet, so we're just going to leave it blank for now. And we're going to add one more scene. It was pause game. And what this is going to do is suspend the current scene. So suspend scene right there. And since we already have this scene in the game, we're just going to suspend the current scene like that. Now what we're going to do is we actually need to have it so that there's like an actual pause menu in the game. So at the top of our game view, let's hit this plus sign and add a new scene. And I'll name this as pause menu like this. And I'll hit 7 to go into top view and do spacebar and then add a camera from the top. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a text object within our game view. So hit 0 to go into camera view, and hit spacebar, and then add a text object. Add text. And we'll drag it more towards the middle like this. Now let's go from object mode to edit mode, and let's backspace a couple times, and let's hit resume like this. So type out resume, then go back into object mode, drag this off like this, and hit Alt and C and convert it to a mesh. And the significance of this is that when we actually run the game, we want it so that we can click on this and it will activate the previous scene or the main game scene. So what we're going to do on this text object is add a sensor always. Click these first 3 dots, then add a sensor, mouse. We'll change this from left button to mouse over. And since this is going to be the only icon within our game, we're just going to leave it as mouse over, and that's it. I'm just going to rename this as mouse over, minimize this, and add one more sensor, mouse. We'll call this click, like that. Click tap, keep it at left button. Let's then add a controller Python and connect these. Alright, let's now create a text, or a script. Let's create a script by doing templates, Python, then game logic simple. I'm just going to delete the portion right here that I've highlighted and hit Control and scroll up on your mouse to make my text larger. I'm just going to name this pause menu.py, which is essentially just going to be the script. Alright, I spelled that wrong, but that's okay for now. Let's then define our mouse over and our click sensor within this. Let's do mouse over is going to equal content sensors mouse over. Let's do click is going to equal const.sensors click, like that. Now what we want it to do is have it so that if we hover the mouse over our resume button right here, it's going to turn it to red, and then if we're not hovering our mouse over, it's going to turn it to white. Actually, that reminds me of something. Right click on your resume button. Let's go over here, go to the physics tab. Let's change it to Blender game actually up top. And where it says collision bounds, we're going to check this box and change it to convex hull. So that if we hover over any part of this the resume button, it'll just highlight red. What we're going to do inside of our script is have if mouse over dot positive. We're going to have own.color is going to equal 1, 0, 0, true. It'll turn it to red. If we're not hovering over our object, we're going to have own.color is going to equal 0.8, 0.8, 0.8, true. and this stands for just generic white or gray. So now we can see if we hover the mouse over, it'll turn red. Let's actually make the mouse visible, so let's do bge.render.show mouse and then 1. So now, I'm just going to scroll out so you guys can see the script. If we hit play and hover the mouse over, we can see it's red and then white like this. Alright, now what we want it to do though, is at the end of our, actually let me drag this in, grab it. Alright, what we want it to do is have it so that if we click on our resume button, it's going to do two things. We're going to add a scene property first, and add another scene property. What we want it to do is resume game. So, and then we're going to add we're going to resume the scene. Let's put the scene right here. So what we're going to do is hold this right here. So resume game. So once we click on it, it's going to resume the game. And then we're going to remove scene. And we're going to remove the pause menu from the game, like this. And we're just going to be doing remove pause, like that. So let's define those actuators within our script. So let's do resume game is going to equal const.sensors, or actuators, sorry. Actuators resume game, like that. And we're going to have remove pause is going to equal const.actuators. Remove pause. So if we click on this, we want it to const.activates resume game, and make sure you do that first. Then we're going to do const.activates remove pause. Alright, that works out well. So now, I'm not going to test it in here because it'll cause an error because there's no main scene. Let's go back into our scene view, and on our camera, let's right click on it. And our camera right here, and the pause menu one is empty. So we're going to add the pause menu in here. And make sure that both of these scenes have something like this. Alright? We're going to do one last thing. On this cube in the middle, let's add an always sensor, like this. And let's do an add actuator and motion. Let's have it rotate a little bit on the z-axis. So what this is going to do is essentially have it so that when we play the game, it'll rotate, and when we pause it, it's just going to stop the game and we can tell. So if I hit play now, hit the space bar, the game pauses. Actually, I just noticed something. Inside of our script right here, for our what's it called? Our mouse over, or our pause menu, change it so that if we click on the, so if click.positive, like this, and I'm just gonna hit the tab key a couple of times. So sorry, I forgot to mention that. If we're hovering over the mouse and then we click it, it's going to activate these two things right here. So I'll drag this back out. If we hit play now, we can see if I hit the space bar, it's going to pause the game. I have the option to click on this and resume the scene, which I do. Pause, resume. Pause, resume. Alright guys, that's all I have for now, so I hope you found this useful. And once again, thanks for watching.